Everybody, welcome back. I'm John Anderson, Principal Security Architect, and in this video, I'm going to take you through providing a quick value confirmation to a customer that has turned on Content Protector, and they have not yet gone into deny mode. So in this case, we're trying to show the customer the product is working. Uh, you know, we want you to buy it in this case, and it can easily be done, after the sale. It's the same process. If a customer has gone live and maybe they're in deny mode post sale, and we're just showing them the product's working, it's detecting bots. That's the key. We're detecting scrapers, right? You want to, for a value confirmation, you really only want to show the good news, right? You want to show them it's working, it's detecting bots. So we're going to try to see if we can find three really good news stories in their WSA data. The account I'm in is Oracle. The host name I'm looking at is help.samsclub.com. They went live with Content Protector probably a week and a half ago. They're still in monitor mode in this case. They're in a POC situation. We actually did do a full integration for them. So we went through the site and did a pretty thorough discovery. And we are basically in monitor mode now, and we're gonna let's take a look at the data. Let's see if everything's working. And hopefully we'll have these three stories, good news stories, to show the customer. So I'm in WSA. I'm filtering on unknown bot scraper anomaly. That is the Content Protector traffic. And also note that I've got apply filter by rule. Normally it's apply filter by request. I've got it on apply filter by rule. This removes all of the other triggers. So the bot, the BVM triggers, the BMP triggers, the WAF triggers, anything that's not Content Protector. I want to remove everything that's not Content Protector from my view. And I'm filtered down to just the host name, help.samsclub.com. Oracle actually in this case is running help.samsclub.com as a service. It's in a SaaS provider type mode. They provide this service to a bunch of different customers where they run their help site with kind of like their customer facing knowledge base. So help.samsclub.com, it's a domain owned by Sam's Club, but it's being delivered by Oracle on behalf of Sam's Club, and it's basically their frequently asked questions. How do I do returns? For all of the types of questions that a retail store would normally have. And they saw some scraping on it, so we're going to take a look. I'm filtered to 7 days. I'm just looking at the last 7 days worth of traffic. Anytime you're doing a value confirmation or even an analysis, just any type of analysis for Content Protector, you need to have at least 7 days worth of data so that you can see traffic patterns, diurnal patterns. And you may actually be looking at this and going, oh my gosh, that looks like human activity. And you would be right. Remember that all requests are for Content Protector protected content. Everything that's in scope basically gets a score associated with it. And the scores include cautious, which is the lowest score segment, strict, which is the medium score segment, and aggressive, which is the high score segment. Aggressive, this is where the scrapers are. Of course, this traffic looks human because it is human. For all of the in-scope HTML and AJAX requests for help.samsclub.com, all of the human traffic shows up in cautious. Right, strict is kind of medium. If we're telling a customer, if we're doing an analysis to say, are you ready to go into deny mode? That's really a false positive analysis. We'll do that in another video. But if we're looking to just show them the value, focus on aggressive. Aggressive is what would be denied if they buy the product. Aggressive is where all the bots are going to be, the scrapers. So we're going to filter on that. And we're only going to look at the aggressive response data. And in particular, we're going to now look at rule combinations. And you can see not a whole lot of traffic on this site. So 150,000 requests. customer picked this site because they actually want to protect all their domains, all their SaaS domains. So it actually could be a lot of host names, all using the exact same rules, because the content management system behind help.samsclub.com that Oracle runs is all using the same paths, the same URL structure. So we're just looking at one for Sam's Club. That's what we started with for the proof of concept, and we're going to look at the bot rule combination here. So if we come in here and look at the very first trigger, and then you come down here and look at the site, very spiky traffic in the top three. And then we get down to this one, and you see just kind of this constant line of traffic, right? So really, I'm looking at this going, my gut is telling me, yeah, this looks like it's probably bot traffic, scraper traffic. Let's go drill down and see if these are good news stories to tell the customer. So I'm going to filter on that first rule combination, and I'm going to take a peek at what is going on here. I'm going to take a look at the user agents. So I'm going to add the user agent to the display here, and I'm going to take a look at the connecting IP address, and I'm going to take a look at the URL. Like what is being requested, who's making the requests, and what is being requested. And when I come in here, I see one IP address, immediately suspicious, right? 16,000 requests from one IP address, all using the same exact user agent, Firefox 121. Ooh, and they're only going to 3 URLs. Interesting, right? So then let's take a look. What are these detections? What are they? Well, to do that, we're going to go over to Samples View. And we're going to take a look at Samples View, and we're going to say, missing cookie, no accept language, missing connection header, content type header anomaly, right? And if you know more about these rule IDs, these were actually all executed at the edge. None of these actually even went to the back end, because there's so many things wrong with this incoming request that we didn't even have to go to the back end. And to see that's the 0xx. So any of the 3903, this is all content protector. 013, 024, 026, 028. These are all edge detections that are just looking at the HTTP headers. And so this bot is not doing a good job of looking like a regular browser, right? And so this one's actually pretty straightforward, right? It's never coming in with cookies. And in this case, it keeps asking for these session requests, getting 301s. Let's see if we see anything else in here. No, okay, this is just the samples I looked at. Let's go back to statistics, and let's take a look at, I think, this one. That I think is an individual article, help article, that will, for whatever reason, somebody is scraping it. And if you look at samples there, you're going to come in here and see, I'm hoping maybe we see some, nope, they're all redirects. So this bot is getting redirected all day long and doesn't seem to care, right? And look at those requests. 54 seconds, 54. These are coming in hot and fast, right? So the velocity here is way too high. So this is a straightforward one. This guy is absolutely a bot, Mr. Customer. Right on that very first top trigger, I'm going to go back out. You could basically screenshot this slide, this view, and put it on a slide to the customer and tell them that this rule combination 026, 013, 024, 026, 028, right, is definitely a bot. Super easy. We didn't have to do much other than filter, and the very top result we're seeing here is a bot, is a scraper. So now I'm going to actually zoom back out. So all I've done is I've zoomed back out here. I'm looking now at all the rule combinations. Top 3 rule combinations, 16708, that's from that one IP address. 16482 is from this other IP address in Denmark. So sure, if you want to, let's drill down, see if that's another good example. And you can see that is coming from also Firefox 121, going after those same exact URLs. So something is coming in and looking at those exact same URLs. So, from a value confirmation perspective, let me zoom out again. I'm already thinking these are the same botnet, right? And in fact, if we just filter now on this guy, right, just that Firefox 121, I think we're going to get all of the spikes. There you go, right? All the spikes. This would be the first story. This is all wrap it all up, put a bow on it, show it to the customer. This is all the same botnet, right? And it just comes in spiky bursts, looking for very specific URLs at very specific times from one IP address using the same exact user agent. And it's being detected as a scraper. Right? So not a whole lot of traffic, but right there I've already said, okay, this is the first good news story I'm going to tell the customer, right? Just screenshot this, put it on a slide. All right, here's your first botnet, Mr. Customer. The product is working. Now, if I zoom back out and I scroll down and we start to look at like this guy, right? So I've already covered these three in that first good news story. Now let's take a look at this guy specifically. And you can see I work through the rule combinations. That's the way I do it, right? And so the rule combinations I find are, how the product is detecting the bot is usually the best way to identify a given botnet and different types of botnets. So, okay, we go scraper here, 023, 002 and 023. In this case, if you look at samples, let's figure out what those are. Nobody remembers these. Don't worry. You're going to always have to look into samples. Outdated browser version, sec fetch header missing. Chrome 73. Wow. And it looks like it's hitting a very specific set of URLs. Let's zoom back out. Oh, sorry. Let's go over to statistics. There we go. And I didn't want to unfilter. Oh, not that one. Down here looking at this one. 002, 023. Match. Okay, so we see a whole bunch of IP addresses from level 3 communications. And Firefox 87, Firefox 88, Chrome 75. Really old browsers. Really old browsers. And it seems like it's hitting this app logged in URL, and it's then requesting all of these specific articles. It looks like article ID 167, but it looks as though it's actually crawling through lots and lots of article IDs, right? So okay, that's fine. What else could we show the customer that's interesting here? It looks like they're just cycling through and crawling the site, and they're doing it pretty much constantly. They are coming from 47 different IP addresses. I am curious to see if the next one in the list is also picking up this same botnet. So if I come down here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add ASN to my view, because level 3 is a pretty specific ISP here in the United States. And if I add ASN, no, I don't even see them in the top here. Let's go down. Let me go back down one more. Match. Level 3. Oh, they actually are coming from 47 different IP addresses. Oh, there are some others in here. There are some non-level 3s. That's why we're getting these other guys. So it looks like the level 3 IPs are all coming out of this AS Lumen. So, basically I've already got a story I can tell the customer. Do I want to make it any more interesting? Let me zoom out a little bit, because I'm guessing that actually these guys are probably the same botnet, just looking at the pattern. So let me drill down to that second one. Let's say, okay, what are we seeing over here? Chrome 49, also those level 3 IP addresses. That's the common denominator, right? So yeah, my suspicion was right. If we zoom all the way back out, we've already said our first good news story involved all of these guys. Our second, value confirmation. Hey, check out these. Look at these awesome bots. Look at all these bots we're detecting. Is this guy right here? 023, 023. These are all the same. And then this one is interesting, right? Because it just seems to have started recently. So now let's maybe look for a third, and then we'll call it a day on value confirmation, right? Well, hopefully this has been 10 minutes of time. All right, so we've got very different IP addresses: Puerto Rico, Australia. We've got mobile user agents. What looks like here. So we've got that's Safari on iOS. So iOS 10, 15, really old. iOS, iPhone OS. Oh, that's actually iPad OS 10, 15. iPhone 13, iPhone 16. Okay, and they're all hitting this one logged in URL. This one, they're all over the place. But most of them are coming out of Puerto Rico. Okay, so let me see what's going on here. If I go down to samples, 020, 023, client hint header anomaly, sec fetch header missing. This one, my mind is thinking this one, I'm worried it might be a false positive, and I'm going to now try to convince myself that it's not a false positive. So we've got to refer. It's definitely going for the XML HTTP request to app logged in. Okay, so I've got a lot of older devices, right? So if I go back to statistics here, and they're showing up with odd, they're missing headers that we normally expect. But the fact that so many of them are from this one iPad OS, right? This guy. So many of them. And when I filter just on that, I've got 4 IPs coming from this single user agent. That's how I'm convincing myself that this is a bot. Because if it were a real false positive, you would have lots of different IP addresses. Even if it was a user agent specific, like say there was one specific type of mobile user agent that wasn't executing our JavaScript properly, and it was on one device. Those type of false positives happen. But in this case, we're seeing iPad OS, older version, 10, and it's coming from 4 IPs. 4 IPs. The only other thing I might want to do is I'm going to filter on that one IP address, and then I'm going to actually see what else I see. If let's just look at what that IP address is doing. Okay. It's not requesting anything other than these 3 URLs, right? And in fact, it comes in with 3 user agents. It looks like later on in the week, it came in with these bursts of this other user agent, all Chrome 66, right? And that's a lot of requests from one IP address, 4057. If it were a true mobile network provider, you'd see lots and lots and lots of user agents. I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing concentrations in the URLs. I'm seeing concentrations in the user agent. And if I get rid of that filter one more time and I go back down, it actually looks like there's a bunch of rule combinations here that are all the same botnet. So I'm going to unfilter on that guy and then filter down to these. Yeah, these are the ones that came in later. So this all looks like it's the same botnet. But now I'm going to basically filter on the rule combos and not the IP address. Let me get the IP address out of there. Let's see if we see 17 IPs. 17. And they're all coming, 8,000 requests on that exact same iPad OS. Every now and then you see some other stuff, but it's also equally as old, right? And it's all triggering these exact same. Look at that traffic pattern, right? You've got concentrations. So I've convinced myself already, yeah, this is a bot, not a false positive. If it were a false positive, we'd see either way more user agents or we'd see way more IP addresses than this, right? And the fact that it's so concentrated and steady, right? Just a steady, no diurnal pattern at all, just constant. That's my third good news story. So I'm gonna zoom back out and we'll recap, right? So I'm gonna get rid of my rule ID filter. Let's go all the way back up to just aggressive response. I've got 3 different right in the top, right? So we said it was that first one, right? Bursty is part of that first botnet. These guys down here, or these 2, were part of the second botnet. And then when we came into these guys, we found that those 17 IP addresses were all in that third botnet. We could keep going, but usually I stop at 3. 3 good news stories, and you're looking at the majority of their traffic there, right? We've already accounted for, probably with those 3 botnets, well over half of the traffic that we're flagging. And so this is the conversation back to the customer. The product is working. It actually looks like all the top traffic that we're seeing, at least through a good, we're probably into the 70th or 80th percentile of the traffic, by looking at those top 3 botnets, and all the rules that they're triggering. No false positives that we found, right? This all looks legitimate. You've got 3 slides you can put together with screen captures here. I include the WSA link, right? Always include the WSA link in the slides so that you can give them to the customer, point the customer back to WSA. That way you're not saying, hey, I'm making up a story here. You can send them the data and say, go look yourself. See if you agree with us. See if you agree with our analysis. But that's it. That's how you do a value confirmation. You don't have to be in deny mode. Really, you're looking for, where is the product doing the right thing? We haven't answered the question, are they ready to go into deny mode yet? Right? We haven't. We haven't really looked for false positives. All I'm doing is looking at the top talkers, the top triggers, and saying, yep, when I drill down into each of them, they all look like scrapers. They all look like bots. And that's it. That's how you do a value confirmation. Thanks, everybody.